The difference between people who are successful and the people who aren't is that the people who are successful, they're going to keep pushing through no matter how hard things get. And the people who aren't successful, they're the kind of people that you say, hey, guess what? I got a new job. Isn't that exciting? And they go, you're going to have that new commute. You got to drive there and you got to get there. Or, man, it's a great day. It's so sunny and nice. Well, you're probably going to get sunburned. And then, they're just looking for what's wrong. And that's all they're looking for. But the people who actually succeed, the people who are successful, those are the kinds of people that doesn't matter how hard they get hit, they're going to keep going, they're going to get up no matter what, they're going to keep moving forward. And I that's something that I try to adopt in my life all the time, is focusing on what I want instead of what I don't want, and focusing on how there's so many good things in the world, focusing on the good instead of focusing on what's wrong. Now, are there wrong things? Are there bad things in the world? I don't think that the whole world is rainbows and unicorns. That's not what I'm saying, but what I am saying is that what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. And when we focus on what's right, we're going to find more of it. And when I was 9 years old, I had a best friend named Winston. He lived across the street from me. And Winston came over one day, and I was in the backyard. He was in the backyard. And this day, Winston had a golf ball in his hand. And he came up to me, he's probably about this far away from me, and he has this golf ball right here. And he says in kind of like a neener, neener, neener kind of voice, you know what I'm talking about? And he says, hey, Jake, I'm going to hit you in the head with this golf ball. That's a 9-year-old boy for you, That's something that he would think is funny. He says it again, I'm going to hit you in the head with this golf ball, and I'm thinking, this is a bad game. I don't like this game. I can't see this going well. And he says it one more time, I'm going to hit you in the head with the golf ball, and I'm like, dude, you win, man. Like, I tap out, game's over. And last time he says it, and then this time he's for real, he reaches back, and he throws the ball as hard as he can. And I'm 9-year-old boys, of course you could see this happening. He throws the golf ball as hard as he can. He hits me right between the eyes, and I'm literally, bam, knocked out cold on the floor. I'm down for the count. And, I woke up, 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later. My dad was there. My brother was there. Winston had fled the scene of the crime. He didn't want to be there when I woke up. He also didn't want to be there when my dad found out what happened when I woke up. Kenny reminded me recently that I had a bump that was so big, it was like there was a golf ball underneath my scalp, sticking out. And the little dimples in a golf ball? Well, they were imprinted in my forehead. And Winston and I were talking, I think we were 17 or 18 years old. I said, dude, do you remember the time you hit me in the head with the golf ball? And he says, yeah, I remember that. I said, what on earth were you thinking? I was just thinking, what was going on through his 9-year-old head? And what he said was really interesting. He said, I wasn't trying to hit you. I just wanted to scare you. I didn't want to hit you. I wanted to throw it right next to you, but I was focusing so hard on not hitting you in the head. I was saying, don't hit him in the head, don't hit him in the head, don't hit him in the head, that of course I hit you in the head. Now, I didn't understand it at first, and he said, I was focusing on where I didn't want it to go, looking right where I didn't want it to go. And what I learned is, obviously we all know you should have been aiming where he wanted it to go, not where he didn't want it to go. He should have been throwing it over here, not looking right here. Probably all the parents in the room are thinking about their kids and thinking, he probably just shouldn't have been throwing it in this region, period. But that's besides the point. He did it, and the point is that he should have been aiming it where he wanted it to go. If you go mountain biking, they say the best way to hit a pothole is to look at that pothole. If you're just looking at it, you're probably going to run into it. There's been times where people get in these car accidents where they spin out, and they're on these desert roads, and there's nothing around them except for one phone pole, and somehow they hit that one phone pole because their eyes are on that thing. That's what they're looking for. What I realize is this applies for everything in our lives. When we focus on something, that's what we're going to see more of. When we focus on, like I said, when you focus on the bad, that's all you're going to find. But if you focus on the good, you're going to find more of it. If you focus on the good within your career, within your family, within your community, you're going to find more of it. But if all you're doing is looking for what's wrong, that's all that you're going to find, because it is out there. And the thing is that this applies, tonight we're talking about achieving your number one goal, whatever that goal is. The thing is that this applies to that concept as well. It's not just about feeling good and having a positive attitude, but really what it comes down to is, instead of focusing on how hard something is day in and day out, focusing on, what you're going to be on the other side, and focusing on how what you're doing right now is shaping you to be a better person. Now, me as an inspirational speaker, I love inspirational stories. That's something I love, but I noticed is that all inspirational stories have 3 parts. Part 1, I was once here in this hard place, this bad place, wherever it is. Part 2, I'm going through this hard time, I'm going through this challenge. And then part 3, I'm a better person because I went through part 2. And the thing is you can't switch, you can't jump from part 1 to part 3. you have to have part two. Part two is your gym. Part two is that time where you are getting stronger and becoming better. And when you're going through a challenge, whatever that challenge may be, think about how what you're doing right now is shaping you to be that better person. And when you're trying to achieve a goal, sometimes you think, well, my goal has nothing to do with, I'm not having a hard time, I'm just trying to accomplish something. But think about how much of a better person you're becoming because you're learning how to achieve that goal. You're learning how to keep going no matter what. And for me, this is the one thing that I changed in my life to help me to reach my number one goal, to lose 55 pounds. And that was me a couple years ago. I looked quite different. I was 270 pounds at the time. And I was pretty miserable. I tried and failed to lose weight, and nothing ever happened, but I was focusing on how hard it was day in and day out. I wasn't focusing on how I was going to become a better person on the other side. I wasn't focusing on how I was going to feel better. I wasn't focusing on how great it was going to feel and how it's going to completely shape me, not just outside, but inside as well, because I'm achieving something that's really, really difficult. And now looking back at it, I'm so grateful for the part two, because it completely shaped me as a person. And anytime you're going through any kind of challenge, remember that. I love this quote by Oprah. She says that when it appears that something is happening to you, it is always happening for you. Think about that. When it appears that something's happening to you, it's always happening for you. Sometimes we think, man, this is rough, man. And what I'm going through now, this just sucks. But the truth is that it's always happening for you. It's always happening for you, and we need to remember that at all times.